Watch this. These three backhand mistakes are killing your game, and the fix is simpler than you think. Hi everyone, I'm Xiao Han. Today we're breaking down the three most common backhand mistakes I see amateurs make. Think of this as a diagnostic checklist you can use to identify your own issues. First, poor spatial awareness. Second, the inability to push forward. Third, incorrect arm coordination, not knowing when to use the upper arm versus the forearm. When you can't coordinate upper arm and forearm properly, watch what happens. Either you get these tiny little forearm flicks with no power, or you lift the whole upper arm and just shove at the ball. Every backhand turns into a stiff collision. You're muscling it, yanking at it. So let's be clear about the three issues. 1. Poor spatial awareness. 2. No forward force. 3. Upper arm and forearm working against each other instead of together. Those are the three we're going to fix. Next, spatial awareness on the backhand means keeping proper distance from the ball. Watch how many players, especially women, drift closer and closer to the table over a rally. At first, standing tight works fine because the incoming ball is slow and low quality. You jam it back, your opponent can't handle it, and you think this is great. But once they start driving to the baseline with real spin and varying depth, that jammed position falls apart. Your error rate skyrockets because you have no room to adjust. Your hand must finish outside the table, never inside it. After every single stroke, return to your ready position before you play the next ball. Hit, reset, not 1, 2, 3, all jammed together. This is just as important as the backswing on the forehand. So many players start making errors mid-rally, and the real reason is they never reset. Watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now when the ball reaches the baseline, watch, if I stay here, I'm completely jammed. I need to leave roughly 1 arm's length of space between myself and the contact point. This is critical. You're constantly adjusting your position based on the incoming ball. Spatial awareness on the backhand is everything. If the ball lands short of the baseline, you can get away with about a forearm's distance. But if every ball is crashing deep to the baseline, you need a full arm's length of space. Now here's a question. When a pimples out rubber sends the ball over a long push, a chop, should I leave forearm distance or full arm distance? The answer is forearm distance. You should not leave full arm distance against pimples. Why? Because a pimples ball doesn't travel with the same momentum, it's relatively short and it sinks. If you stand too far back, you can't connect solidly. You end up catching it on the end of the racket, and you simply cannot generate force. So against a pimples push or chop that drops and sinks, stay a bit closer forearm distance, so you meet the ball in your power zone. Then, as we just established, you do need space. But when a penhold player squeezes the ball at you, that ball has real forward momentum. It drives through, even though it sinks. So you actually want to stand a little farther back. That extra distance gives you room to extend your stroke and meet the ball with a fuller swing. Don't confuse these two situations. Pimples that sink with little pace, stay closer. A driven, jammed ball with real force behind it, give yourself more room. After that, watch every one of these shots. Do you see the common thread? Every single one goes forward. The force direction is always forward. That's why there's real quality on the ball, that clean, loud contact. I'm driving straight ahead, committing fully in one direction. Forward intent is everything on the backhand. Now, a lot of beginners try too hard to make the stroke look complete, and that's where problems creep in. Let me show you the wrong patterns. First, watch this. The forearm path goes upward. The second mistake is a windshield wiper motion. The racket sweeps sideways across the body. See that? That's not forward either. The third one is this stiff, jabbing push. It looks like it's going forward, but there's no real follow-through. These three wrong patterns are incredibly common among amateur players. If you're not driving genuinely forward, your backhand will never have real power or consistency. Your consistency will suffer too. So what do we need to fix? First, the direction of the stroke. On the backhand attack, your elbow and your forearm move together. They pull back together and they push out together. Pull in, push out. Pull in, push out. This is different from a rip, where the elbow stays anchored and you whip around it. But on a standard backhand attack, you need that repeated forward distance. The elbow and forearm retract as a unit, then drive forward as a unit. The path is always straight ahead. This applies to penhold exactly the same way. I'm using a shake hand grip to explain it, but the principle is identical. Moving on, once the elbow is braced, the forearm travels back and forward with it, back and out, back and out. That's the first key point. Keep the range small, just a little movement is enough. Now, second point, look at the shape my arm makes. Watch carefully. I'm not pinning my arm against my body. And I'm not just shoving it out like a push. My upper arm hangs down while the forearm stays level. See that slight triangle between my upper arm and forearm? That's the ready shape. From this position, when I strike, the forearm drives forward. As I make contact, the forearm rotates outward and the elbow transitions from a level position to a more upright one. This turning action is absolutely critical. Without it, you're only pushing. And remember, what I'm teaching here is the backhand drive, the fundamental stroke, so don't mix it up with anything else.